You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Arya Whitner, and this is your NXT audio report for Wednesday, November 23, 2016. Happy Thanksgiving to all my fellow American wrestling fans. Hope you all are celebrating it by watching an old school Survivor Series today or tomorrow. And, other than that, just, have fun, spend time with your family, watch some football, watch some old wrestling, do what you want. And let's get on to NXT, shall we? This show was taped, or at least parts of it were taped. Last Saturday before Takeover, they taped 2 dark matches. And they filled up the middle with a whole bunch of filler. But we'll get to all that and then some. Starting off tonight with Rich Swann versus Kona Reeves, the number 1 contender to the Cruiserweight Championship, against Kona, who used to be both Noah Kakoa and later just Noah. Kona smiles a lot despite being a heel, but he just has this natural ability to make you dislike him just by looking at him. And I think that is really going to pay off for him as he continues his career here. This was a very basic match. Swann had it won with what was pretty much a standing 360 leg drop, as opposed to his normal standing 450 splash. He didn't get quite all the way over on it. Suddenly, Sanity's music hit, and the 4 members, Eric Young, Alexander Wolf, Sawyer Fulton, and Nikki Cross, walked very slowly to the ring. The action in the ring stopped as both wrestlers politely waited for them to make their full entrances. And if they knew what was going to happen, maybe they wouldn't have been so polite about it. Swann and Reeves did not see it coming as Sanity laid them out with a 4-on-2 beatdown. The only offense saw Swann hit a flying crossbody up the top on Eric Young. Actually, not on Eric Young, on Fulton. But he quickly got beaten down further, culminating in Eric Young laying him out with the wheelbarrow neckbreaker combo. The fans chanted for EY because, he's a local Canadian guy who took the mic and said that he tried to do things the fans' way, but he got nothing. And they're not going to get permission. No longer will they ask for permission and get people's approval. They're just going to take. After commercial, No Way Jose came out to check on Rich Swann and challenged Sanity to come back and take a beating from Jose tonight. He specifically wanted Eric Young, so Young hit the ring telling his compadres to, stay down and let Young beat up Jose himself. This was not a match, but Jose did get the better of it. So Fulton and Wolf slid in for the 3-on-1 attack. Despite it being 3-on-1, Jose was still managing to fight them all off, until Nikki Cross hit a missile dropkick from behind, and that was it for Jose as he got laid out with a wheelbarrow neckbreaker of his own. And Sanity stands tall. We then got a series of video packages looking at every single match from Takeover. And then they would do a little interview with one of the 2 participants. Among them was Paul Ellering saying that the Authors of Pain unleashed a plethora of pain and proved it by winning the Dusty Rhodes Classic, and saying that Chapter 3 of the Authors of Pain story is yet to come. Di Dillinger, by the way, was sad that he disappointed both his mother and his siblings who were sitting ringside for the match. He wasn't sure what was next for him because this was supposed to be his big moment, and he failed. However, the one positive he got out of this was that the fans, even after he lost, the fans stood up and gave him a standing ovation after the match, and he promised that next time he will not come up short. DIY cried, as did Mickie James. And Shinsuke Nakamura walked to his car simply by saying he wanted his rematch as soon as possible. Also want to point out that they showed a commercial for the new WWE Films movie, Eliminators, which is being released on DVD on December 6th, and it stars Wade Barrett, of all people. So, not sure when this thing got filmed or whatnot, but, here you go. Next week on NXT from Ottawa, which I guess was taped before SmackDown last night, Samoa Joe returns, and also Eric Young goes one-on-one with No Way Jose. We got a backstage segment where Daria Baronato of Tough Enough fame was warming up when Billie Kay and Peyton Royce interrupted her and asked her to be their partner tonight. Daria was pissed about being interrupted, but agreed to be in the match, and it makes you wonder what she was warming up or why she was warming up if she didn't even have a match. We also got a backstage interview with the three heels. Billie and Peyton said that they aren't mean people, and they showed how nice they really were by letting Daria team with the cool people tonight. And that led us to the main event. Yes, it was a 60-minute show with 2 matches and a lot of video packages. Ember Moon, Aaliyah, and Liv Morgan versus the aforementioned heel triumvirate of Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, and Daria Baronato. Aaliyah's from Toronto, so she got a little bit of a pop. More than Liv Morgan got, but nothing exceptional. In fact, Ember Moon got a better reaction than any of them did. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce now both wrestle in what I call the Fabulous Moolah one-piece swimsuits, but much sexier versions of that. And yes, I don't want to alarm anybody, but Billie Kay and Peyton Royce looked a whole lot better than Moolah did. Anyway, the heel trio got the heat on Aaliyah. Daria looked better here than she did the last time they did one of these random women's 6-person tags. Ember got the hot tag, and the fans were into seeing her kick Peyton's ass. It broke down to a Pierce 6 brawl, which featured Daria actually getting laid out during the brawl. However, Billie Kay dragged Daria to the corner to have her get tagged in, despite not being ready to get back in. Billie and Peyton then walked off, leaving Daria to get laid out by Ember's flipping stunner from the top rope. And the babyfaces pick up the win. But before we go off the air, we get some late breaking news. In fact, I'm sure they must have cut into the show here. This was not something I'm sure that they edited earlier. I'm sure this was just, right then and there at 8:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They cut right into the news with this important announcement that on December 3rd, in Osaka, Japan, at the NXT live event, Shinsuke Nakamura gets his rematch and challenges Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship. This was, if you remember, it was being reported a few weeks ago that this show is being filmed or being taped to be aired on the WWE Network, but no one knew why or when they were going to do it, and it wasn't going to be a takeover show, so they didn't know why it was being taped. But now we know why, because they're doing the Joe Nakamura rematch. So that does it for this week. Next week we're in Ottawa. I think the week after that we go back to Full Sail. But until then, thank you all for listening, and I'll talk to you again in 7 days.
You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.